Next up at UFC 301, we have Joaquim Silva taking on Drakkar Klose. They didn't do Joaquim Silva any favors here. There wasn't any homer matchmaking here because Drakkar Klose is very good. We got Joaquim Silva, 13-4 overall, 2-3 in his last 5. He is coming off that decision win over Clay Guida. He's taking on Drakkar Klose. Drakkar Klose is 14-2 in his career, 4-1 in his last 5. He's coming off that big slam knockout win over Joe Solecki, and that card had 2 slam knockout wins. It was
what was
pretty
the
wild.
other one?
I don't remember. Joaquim Silva is the homer here. Joaquim Silva is the local guy. Joaquim Silva is a dangerous guy that can win fights. But Joaquim Silva's also getting up there. He's been in a couple of wars. He fades a little bit as fight goes on. But overall, he's a very good fighter. He's got big knockout power in his hands. He is a jiu-jitsu black belt. And he has all of those skills. Problem is, he's sort of chasing the knockout more than anything. He's typically not attempting takedowns. He's not typically looking to get it to the ground and fight that way. If you remember, he did have Arman Tsarukyan on ice skates 2 fights ago. He ended up losing that fight. And then he came back. He just fought an insanely old Clay Guida where he got his wrestling going for the first time in his UFC career. He focused solely on a wrestling and grappling offensive type fight. And he won that fight. He beat a very busy Clay Guida. He had success in that fight. He's taking on Drakkar Klose. Drakkar Klose is also a very good wrestler. In high school, he was a state champion. He's developed some striking skills as well. He uses his wrestling offense more than most, but he does have some issues defending takedowns. He's got solid boxing. He's got good power. He's got speed. Overall, he's a well-rounded guy. He can go the distance. He can win by finish. And he is coming off that win over Joe Solecki. He was in an armbar and he just ba-boom and then knocked out poor Joey. And this fight should be Drakkar Klose all day long. It should be. And what's funny is, and you will see, I'll just move to this slide now. Drakkar Klose is the older fighter. In my mind, Joaquim Silva was like 40, pretty much on his way out, and that's it. And I thought Drakkar Klose was like 32. And then I'm putting together the graphics and doing all that. It's like, oh man, Drakkar Klose is 36 and he's older than Joaquim Silva. I don't think it necessarily matters in this fight. Drakkar Klose has not looked old at any point. Joaquim Silva is going to come forward, look to make it a striking match. Drakkar Klose is going to be the better striker. Obviously, Joaquim could have some success wrestling like Rafa Garcia did. But I think if that starts to happen, I think Drakkar Klose will implement his own wrestling. I'm going with Drakkar here. He is going to be the pick. He's a durable guy. He's got multiple paths to victory. And I do think these odds are fair. I think Drakkar Klose should be a minus 184 favorite in this matchup. And that has tightened a bit. He was minus 190 on Sunday. What do you think, Jakey Bomba Lotes?
Yeah, I've said about Joaquim before that he just looks the part, man. I mean, he just looks the part. I said in my quick pick video, if you just handed out pictures of every single person in the UFC to random people and you said, who do you think is the best fighter? I bet he would be in the top 5 of everybody's list just from the physical attributes. And he does use those physical attributes. I mean, he will use it in the wrestling and the grappling. He will use it in the big power shots he throws. The issue with me with Silva in this fight is his lack of volume. I think he's just going to get behind early against a guy like Drakkar Klose. And as you mentioned, Drakkar at that point is just going to have too many tools, right? And once you get down, you can't just swing wild and heavy against these guys that are pretty good in this division. I mean, you mentioned that Clay Guida fight. That was almost kind of a dog fight, second and third rounds. And to be that against a guy like Clay Guida where Drakkar Klose is, he's better than Clay Guida. He can wrestle. He's got big power as well. Outside of Silva, chinning this dude just kind of randomly, which he's definitely capable of, I just don't see him winning this fight. He's going to lose, I think, every second of the fight unless he lands that big shot, and I can't pick that or trust that for a bet. So I like Drakkar Klose here. I just think he's just going to be too active. He's going to be winning the entire time pretty much unless he gets knocked out.
Yeah, and Silva's not even you could do inside the distance decision, no action, but he's not the most durable guy either.
Right.
So it is a tricky – there's not much value on the Silva side. But I will say he does have that power. He had more success striking against Arman Tsarukyan than Charles Oliveira did. Right. Charles Oliveira had no trouble striking. None. Obviously.
He's doing the chicken dance for sure.
And yeah, he had Arman to the point where that's why a lot of people thought Charles Oliveira was going to knock out Arman because they're like, Joaquim Silva had him in trouble. And Joaquim Silva is the only person that had him in trouble. So he does have that big power and he can land it. But Drakkar Klose should just be better, faster, to the point. The offensive wrestling is there. Drakkar Klose should absolutely win this fight. And this line is tightening. This is a perfect example of the line movement tracker. The line is tightening. It's not a freight train, but it is starting to tighten a little bit. So I'm keeping an eye on it. And frankly, if this gets a little tighter, we end up in the 170s, maybe even a little lower than that, then I might go ahead and jump on that. Because I think what is happening on this card is some of the big favorites are coming huge favorites, and people are looking for value elsewhere. So they're going to bet some dogs. They're going to turn some other people into big favorites. But I think a lot of the rest of the lines outside of like the 5 that everybody's positive on are going to tighten because people are just going to hit the dogs looking for generic value. What are you laughing at?
No, I was the Pacers getting ready to start, so I pulled up my YouTube TV app. But then you know how on Max it like will make a screen completely disappear. Like if you have like now you're like because you can throw your screens around or whatever. It made this completely disappear, and I didn't. I was like, I didn't know how to get it back. I was sitting here like I could hear you, but I'm like, oh God, what did I do?
You handled that well because until you made the laugh noise, I had no idea.
If you look at if somebody watched that back, I was like.
I didn't see any panic. You made the laugh noise, and I was like, what? But other than that, I didn't know.
No Pacers, though, Game 5.
If you do want to unlock the line movement tracker and everything else, WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member at the top. You're going to get 4, not even 4 analysts. You're going to get me, Jacob, Artem, and then the 3 different guys at Running Mouth MMA, their picks and their bets. You're also going to get the artificial intelligence. So we're up to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different people, one of them's not a human being, worth of picks, bets, and more. WeWantPicks.com, click Become a Member at the top. Before you go, let me give you $50. Anybody who goes to WeWantPicks.com/bets and signs up with any one of our affiliate partners gets $50 as a thank you. Use the link, sign up, make a deposit. We send you $50 as a thank you.